Alright, this is a quick study helper for the basic class. Just arranged 4 questions to help with tomorrow. Let's take a look at the first one. The first question is 7c equals 58 and solve for c. We're going to use something called the division property of equality, where I'm dividing both sides by the same number. And what I'll end up doing is we'll end up dividing both numbers by our coefficient. Our coefficient is this number here that is attached to our variable. So let's take a look at this. 7c equals 58. So I'm going to divide both sides by our coefficient, which is the number attached to the decimal. I divide them both by 7. Now some of us may look at that and say, well, what's this line mean here? The line is nothing more than making a fraction. And as my class knows, every fraction is a division problem. So if I divide 7 by 7, that leaves me c, just one c, and I don't need to write a 1 next to my variable. There's no need for that coefficient of 1. So 1 equals, and this would be, how many are looking at 58 then divided by 7? We're going to use long division, and we're going to put our remainder in as a fraction. So how many groups of 7 can I pull out of this 5 here? And that would be 0. And how many groups can I pull then out of 58? Well, that becomes 8, and 8 times 7 gives me 56. I'm going to subtract those. Leaves me with 2. So I have nothing else here to bring down whatsoever, so I'm done. So I turn this remainder into my numerator over my divisor, which is my denominator. So my final answer would be 8 and 2/7, or C equals 8 and 2/7. It's as simple as that one gets. Let's take a look at the next question. If I have 6 textbooks that weigh a total of 46.2 pounds, write an equation for W, the weight of one book. So I'm just writing an equation. And so I know I have 6 books. I have to write this in terms of W, which is going to be the weight of one book. And I have 46.2 pounds. Pretty much the equation writes itself. If I know the weight of 6 textbooks equals 46 and 2/10 pounds, then I can combine my 6, which becomes my coefficient, with my variable, and my equation becomes 6W equals 46.2 or 46 and 2/10 pounds. So it's that easy, and all I'm asking them to do is simply write an equation, not asking them to solve. Until, of course, we get to the next part. Next page says, now solve for W in the previous question, which was 6W equals 46 and 2/10 pounds. We are back to using the first step of the division property of equality. So I'm going to rewrite this, and we have 6W equals 46 and 2/10 pounds. I'm going to divide both sides by my coefficient. And again, my coefficient is the number that's attached to the variable. 6 by 6, they'll cancel each other out, but 6 divided by 6 leaves me just 1W. Again, there's no reason to put any number here next to my coefficient. We're just going to understand that as 1W equals 46 and 2/10 pounds divided by 6. So let's make a little bit of room here. Erase this part. I'll rewrite it up a little bit higher. 46 and 2/10 pounds, we're dividing by 6. That's what we're doing right below here. So how many groups of 6 can I pull out of 46? Well, that's going to be 7. 7 times 6 gives me 42. I subtract. That brings me... Let's minimize this. Oh, can't do that. That gives me a 46 minus 42 gives me 4. And I bring that 2 down. So that leaves me with another 7. Bring up my decimal. So my final answer is a W, or 1W, equals 7 7/10 pounds. Those are some big books, folks. Probably a math book. Next one. I traveled 13 47/100 miles, and that gives me 93 38/100 miles left to go. Write an equation if m is the number of miles before I started my trip. So I know I traveled 13 47/100 miles, and that's going to leave me 93 38/100 miles left to go. Now I want to write an equation. Again, writing an equation, not solving, but just writing for m. If m is the number of miles before I started my trip. Well, if I were to draw a picture, I can simply say here's my 13.47, and I know I have 93 38/100 miles left to go. And if I look at this, I can say obviously that this number, this first number here, the 13 47/100 plus this number, will equal my m, or I could simply put m minus 13 47/100 miles leaves me with 93 38/100 miles. And that's all I'm asking for on that one. So that's my quick helper. I hope it works out tonight. Have a good time.